Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of the Square Circle Podcast. It is me, Marie Shadows, returning again with my best co-host, Dose Evil, which I have definitely put him over for like the past couple of days, and then even talking about MLW and then all of our interactions online. And he's back again to talk to me and talk to you guys and review the MLWx DonGato show. Dose Evil, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Good. Um, this show actually felt different because it is actually, confirmed that I got the press release that yes, MLW did move their headquarters from New York City to Charleston, South Carolina. So congratulations to MLW for moving out of New York City. Good job to Court Bauer. And it just felt like a totally different production when they had this show.
I agree. I wouldn't say all that was necessarily positive. I mean, I have questions about the show. I have comments. I have some mini rants about the show. But I think long-term, the move to Charleston will obviously save them costs, a lot of expenses, probably a lot of headaches, and allow a little bit more freedom and take away some of that New York City angst that comes with it, and maybe let some of the creative juices free. But to be a bit of a spoiler to sort of what probably encapsulates most of my questions and comments for tonight, I feel like they tried to stuff 10 pounds of meat into sort of like a 5-pound bag, or like maybe like a 7-pound bag, but there was already like 2 pounds of filler in there to start with. So if that makes any sense to the audience, terrific. If it doesn't, hopefully as the show goes on, it will.
And as we get through the matches, there is one match in particular that I was like, we could have not had this match at all. And that will be our shortest review of that match when we get there. Because I do sort of agree that while I had fun watching it, and it felt like a big deal, there was a lot of bloat. But then again, I think that they might have wanted it that way because they just got to Charleston. That's going to be their new headquarters. So why not have, like, I guess the first episode, and I'm using air quotes for people that are going to listen to on the audio, like the first episode, so to speak, of like, let's do this with a bang, with a very good crowd.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And also it came out a couple days later, or a couple days ago, was that Fusion is coming back. The weekly show is coming back in 2026. Now, I don't know if that means that it's going to be on TV, and there's a TV deal coming. I know they've been working towards one. I don't think that's any real secret that everybody's working towards TV. I have a little information on it, but I'm not going to give it because nobody said that I'm allowed to, so I won't. And I'm not going to spoil something without someone saying you can say this. But nothing solid in this world. But yeah, I do think that in this case they opted to not make some choices into what to cut, which forced them to make certain choices, which I'm not sure were great in some regard. Oh, this is going to sound like I'm bashing somebody else, and I really don't want to. But it sort of felt a little bit like an NWA show in that it was choppy, and some of the segments were sort of unnaturally short for what I thought was no particular reason. Anyway, we might as well get into it and talk about the matches so people get the specifics instead of like getting these oblique references and making.
So the show opens up with DonGato himself, with Jesus, Selena, and also Caesar. They open up MLW to get that crowd riled up, and is the crowd ready for violence and all the matches that are happening. And then our buddy Juan appears, and man, he has such like the mean, muggiest of faces, and I'm just like, this is fantastic. So he gets down there, he grabs the mic, he has some really good one-liners, and he definitely wants the shot at the middleweight championship title. Again, like, I love this dude. Like, he deserves the world and stuff like that. They got to pull the trigger on him. I am very biased, if you guys, don't already know, but they got to pull the trigger on him at one point or another. So even though Quan is taking his shots and whatnot, and he gets the opportunity to be in the later on triple threat match for the middleweight championship title, DonGato gets to be the special enforcer for that match. But then also he ends up pulling out a sword from underneath the throne he was sitting to counteract the brass knucks that Quan has been holding on to. So I was just like, hey, how did he get that through security? How did he get that through TSA? Like, why would he bring a sword to MLW?
Well, maybe he has an office in the headquarters and he keeps a katana there. But why is DonGato with a samurai sword anyway? I mean, okay, first of all, this is a different DonGato, isn't it? I mean, the DonGato of the past was like 6'3", 6'4", and sort of lean. This DonGato was the same size as Jesus Rodriguez, and I do mean the same size, like all the way height and width. I mean, it seemed to be a different guy.
Listen, I was gonna bring that sort of like theory up a little bit later when we get to the match that is gonna have the shortest review on this show. But I do think that I don't know, man. But sometimes when you wear a luchador mask, you could just switch out people; it'll be okay. But we're here asking the important questions.
Yeah, the Black Scorpion and some scandalous people lying about El Grande Americano. They're crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think the mystique of DonGato is furthered by him having a sword. Like why wouldn't he just have like replacement nooks that were even bigger than the gold nooks he had before? Like,
right.
It seems like there could have been something else, or that he shouldn't be afraid of any nooks. He's DonGato. Like, he has a loaded plate and he gives a headbutt. Anyway, I don't really, on one end, I don't like, but on the other end, I sort of like Quan being treated as like the Miz of MLW because the Miz has had the steadiest job for 22 years. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and I do think in most wrestling, if you sacrifice to, to be the butt of some of the jokes that, you tend to be rewarded at some point. Okay, so you and I know Quan a little bit, you a little better than I do. But the point is, like, he's been working out a lot, so he's building his upper body and all that. And so the funny thing is, like, I could see when he was flexing, like when he did like a chest pack, and when he would like a most muscular with his triceps. So he's out. He's feeling a little froggy when he's out there.
Oh yeah, he is. That's why I'm just like, yep. I've always saw potential in him ever since the first day that I see him over here in the Bronx at BWF back in the day. So yeah, I always knew. But yeah, man, bringing a sword to MLW. I don't know if we have any clever lines because they say don't bring a brick to like a gunfight or something like that, or a sword to a gunfight. Yeah, they'll bring a knife to a gunfight. Which, by the way, this is going to be fun only because I have like 3 swords in front of me and then like 2 more swords like behind this thing. So are you
waiting for like do you think you're going to be attacked by ninjas at some point?
Listen, man, I end up collecting swords when I can.
Okay, all right. Who am I to say? I don't know. All right, but great. I know where not to break into.
Definitely. So if Quan, I don't know if Quan ever tunes into our show, I got swords. I can help you out, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, if you need to do the Kill Bill match, then she can hook you up.
Yeah. So right after that, we get our opening match, which was Isla Dawn versus Scarlett Bordeaux. Which, as I was watching this, right, in my head, I'm like, I watch wrestling for the wrestling, for the breakdowns, for the character. I watch it for wrestling, right? But part of me was like, man, 2 sexy ladies in there. I can't look away, right? So originally I had wanted to put on Twitter or just social media with one of those like, change my mind kind of memes. And I came up with the topic of, wrestling needs sex appeal, like change my mind. However, when I was talking about it, at home with my Ravage, he brought up a good point that it's about charm more than sex appeal for why I'm like, yo, there's something missing in wrestling, and these two ladies, even though I know it wasn't gonna be like a really wrestling match, it was gonna be something fun and entertaining, that he thinks that charm is missing from wrestling. So I would like to get your opinion on it. Of, do you think that wrestling needs sex appeal or wrestling needs charm?
I'm going to cop out and say that I think that there's what I mean. I think you need a bit of mystique. I don't know that there's
That too.
I think if you have sex appeal and charm, or it's lazy, but the word of the day or now is aura, and I think that just means that you are excited to see someone and you would like to see more of them. And I don't really think it matters why you want to see more of them. Certain things help. Being really good looking helps. So does being really scary looking. It could help. Having a great personality can help. My big issue with this, well, there's a few issues with this. First of all,
Okay.
People paid money. They bought tickets to see these two former WWE talents and these smoke shows. And this match was like 4 minutes long, and it was the opening match. Make them wait a little bit. This should have not been the opening match. Neither one of them is really the greatest wrestler in the world. No one really needs it, but it's like there was like a story that they told at the end, but not at the beginning. And I think that, when you have two women who their characters are sultry, sexy, and they're both witches, like you could have had some story about, like, who's the good witch and who's the bad witch, or even better, who's the badder of the bad witches, and then who's the more smoke show one. Those are really easy vignettes to do. And I think when you give us a 5-minute match, that was deflating. I was upset. I'm like, why is this the first match? I'm glad to see these women, but this shouldn't be the opening match, because it isn't going to be 20 minutes. So, I don't know. I would have liked to see more. I would have liked to see more of in the ring sort of hostile flirtations. The best part of the match was at the end when Isla Dawn gave her the smoocheroo, and I'm like, yeah, I'd like to see more of that. What's that about? But when someone loses after 4 minutes, I question whether we're ever going to see them again in MLW. Now, I'm glad that Scarlett won, because that probably means we are going to see her again in MLW, and we get more on that later. But this match, to me, I question it being the opening match. I question there being no story built around it, even if it was vignettes during the show, like even if they didn't have time for promotion. And it should have been longer as well, to give people who paid money and traveled to see these two absolute stunning smoke shows who both have characters. Just to see Isla Dawn slithering, or being like Guns N' Roses, like you said, my serpentine. I know he's referring to his serpentine, but she's serpentine. She's like feline. She's like if you picture like Lilith, you might picture Isla Dawn. So I don't know. Like I think that, like, it was sort of short shrift to not give them more time, so that the audience, which was 93% dudes, their opportunity to just take in the incense.
Yeah. And I really didn't mean to put you on the spot. And if anybody comes after you, I got you.
Whenever
Okay.
you want.
Oh,
It was your show, and I don't think that was putting me on the spot. I'm just not sure. Sex appeal, I understand, and charm, I understand. I feel like charm is more for like cocktail parties and diplomats and business meetings. So I'm not, but so I'm trying to interpret what he meant by charm. I think he meant charisma.
He meant by when he said charm, of like, there's like something to them that, like, makes you want to continue to see them, but not in like a but not in like a sexual way. Like they have this charm of, like, you remember them for what they do and their character work and all that kind of stuff, like that charm, rather than like just sex appeal. Because those outfits,
I call that charisma. I would call that charisma. I think the difference is physical charisma versus emotional or mental charisma. I think that Cody has mental charisma. I think that like he's probably very. I think Cody's probably very charming and pleasant to be around. I think I don't know the man personally, but I think if you ran into Drew McIntyre and he was in a good mood, he'd be extraordinarily charming.
That
So
makes sense. Yeah.
so yeah, I think there's people, I think George Clooney is probably really, really charming. Pedro Pascal is probably really, really charming. But I think that he means like a charisma that emanates more from what
Probably.
you would consider the head more than the heart.
Yeah. Which, by the way, for everyone that's listening, it's your turn down in the comments below. Just let us know if you think wrestling needs sex appeal, or wrestling needs charm, or wrestling needs aura, or wrestling needs, charisma. These are just like your opinions that you guys could just leave down in the comments below. There is no right or wrong answer. I was just trying to figure it out because, like, I agree with you that while they did open up the show, I knew that I wasn't gonna get the wrestling match because, it started with the cheap shot from Isla to Scarlett, and then Scarlett had a little bit of like offense in there. There's the Hurricanrana, there's like the knees, there's like the big power spots. So it wasn't gonna be like, collar and elbow tie up, wrist lock, hammer lock, takedown, shoot off into the ropes, leapfrog and whatnot, which is the basics that everybody does. So that's why I had to stop. I really had to stop at that moment and be like, hey, this feels like sex appeal, because I'm not interested in the match. And I really don't want to say that about, something like this where they, spent a lot of time to promote the show, but like it just wasn't capturing me because I already knew what to expect. However, that being said, for anybody that gets released from WWE and they go on to the indies, I really want them to show what they can do, because in WWE, you have to follow a character, you have to follow their formula, you have to follow their story. So it might limit you if you are the creative person that you say that you are. So when you get to the indies, I really want to see that, especially in matches and how they put together their promos and stuff like that. So that's why I was just like, yeah, these two talents were, former WWE, but now I want to see what you guys could really, really do.
Also, I mean, not to criticize the ladies, because I don't think they had much time to age in this and put it
Yeah.
together, but they're very similar. They're very similar physically. Their mannerisms when they come to the ring are very similar. Their poses are very similar. They're Scarlett's a little bit more mysterious, and Isla's a little bit more naughty. But it's like they could be sisters. And like, I would love, if there was a tag team division, I would love to see them as a tag team. I mean, I think that Chelsea Green missing a member of the Secret Service. I mean, why not bring Isla Dawn back to her partner Alba Fire? It makes all the sense in the world. And of course, maybe I would start watching WWE main roster again just to see them. But they're on NXT enough that I wouldn't have to make that sacrifice. Anyway, for a 4-minute match, there was mostly exhibition. We're probably spending too much time, but my biggest problem with it wasn't an exhibition. It was too short to be an exhibition, and it should have been. Even if it was an exhibition of them being slinky and shaking what they got. I mean, at least if that was their main point on the show, at least give the people 10 minutes worth of it, as opposed to this was like shake your booty, us interruptus us.
Yeah. And then right after that, I put Danny McBride is also at MLW, which where was Paul Walter Hauser?
I don't
mean, their
know, but
buddy.
I'm glad that you brought up the Danny McBride thing, because this was also sort of throughout the matches that people were drinking DonGato tequila, which is great. But I don't think that they did anybody any favors, because nobody looked like they liked it. Tom Lawler looked like it was too rough, on him. The only people who took it down smoothly were the tequila flight girls with the luchadora masks, and that's probably part of their job. Cesar and Selena, of course, do. But I mean, when Mystico took his shots later, he started coughing. This is not good salesmanship for DonGato. And look, unless you're looking for something that makes you feel rough and you want to feel rougher.
Yeah. I don't know, man. if we ever get to happen to do shots, I'll take a shot of DonGato and give a review of
Sure,
it.
we should sponsor it. And by the way, DonGato, whoever really owns it or whatever, I will make sure that it goes down smoothly and that like I don't go ooh smooth. No, I'll drink and I'll be like, hey, this is good. Those people can handle his booze.
We'll see. We'll have to talk to some people to be like, hey, we want to try this on stream or whatever. After that, we had our MLW World Tag Team Championships. On the line, the Good Brothers taking on Bishop and Dijak. I still refuse to call them the Skyscrapers. This was a very, I guess, you know what, fun big man match with lots of hard hitting action and that size ring is not going to be able to contain like these big ass guys minus Karl Anderson because he's not that big, but he could still make it look like he's big. Just immediate high start, exchange of forearms, and when I saw that, I was like, man, I've seen this too many times in New Japan Pro Wrestling when Karl Anderson used to do this shit, and I was just like, you guys started the match with this, really? But whatever, just my stupid ass pet peeve. Okay, just we got some big clotheslines, some tag team maneuvers, which I love. Bishop and Dijak did that choke backbreaker into Dijak just falling with grace, because we're gonna call it falling with grace from the ropes. And then all four did clotheslines for like the double down of double downs, which again I'll let it pass. And then it became into a DQ because somebody has a freaking temper. So this is not the end of these two guys fighting for the championship titles. So what is your opinion on this match?
Okay. First, coming down to the entrance when they introduced the Good Brothers, Filthy Tom Lawler's talking about how they like to party and do all this and
They do.
And all that. Well, guess what? They did. And DonGato's but Karl Anderson's sober, and he's publicly sober, and he said that he was sober on the MLW video that was aired at the last show. So stop talking about how they go out and get drunk and get party and don't remember where they are and get arrested, and then go out and do it again and get arrested the second time, because Karl Anderson's sober. So don't do that. Secondly, the thing that there's lots of things that annoy me about the Good Brothers. I've never thought that they were all that good to begin with, and they're obviously not brothers. But Doc Gallows, who is an enormous, imposing man, is the biggest man that doesn't wrestle like a big man. The closest thing are his punches. He sort of has that like short-armed undercut, which is good. But aside from that, there's nothing about him that says he wrestles like a big man. Like every now and he does the big boot, but everyone does that, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. But like, for a guy who actually physically looks like Kevin Nash, like he should wrestle more like Kevin Nash. I don't know. I assume that you hated the end of this because I know that you hate sort of like, these, we know these are not pay-per-views. They're not charging like, even AEW prices for tickets, but people are paying for the shows. They're only once every 2 or 3 months. And you get like a sort of like can I curse on your show?
Yeah.
You get sort of a fuck finish. I don't like to curse, period, but I didn't know what else to call it. When we didn't, and it was quick. We got a fuck finish quick. So again, you have 4 stars. People paid to see them. Like this should have gone longer before it like broke down into a boondoggle. And maybe it could have been, and it was like listen, I appreciate the old school thing where somebody hits the referee and it's and that's a disqualification. I don't mind that at all. I don't remember hearing that the announcer said that the Good Brothers won because the Skyscrapers got disqualified, which maybe I just missed it, which would have made it a little interesting. I just think this match should have been longer before it broke down into, whatever the end was. I felt that it was, again, I felt it was rushed. We're now up to 6 people that people pay tickets for, where things were rushed that they shouldn't have been rushed. Just my opinion, and I don't love the Good Brothers, but I know who they are and I know where they've been, which is everywhere. And there are people who probably bought tickets. There are people who probably thought there might have been a title change there. I guess the good news is that it probably, because there was the disqualification finish, that it probably will continue. So for those of you who like the Good Brothers, then you're going to see them again in MLW, and that could be pretty cool. I remember their Southpaw wrestling. I might not really love them in the ring, but they're definitely funny. I mean, they're clever. So hopefully there'll be some cleverness that comes out of it, and maybe I'll like them more. Maybe it's just about location. If they're not like hanging around with the Bucks and Omega, they won't feel douchey like the Bucks and Omega. Maybe if they're hanging around a place that's looser and they're influenced by cool people like Quan and Thomas, that they'll show their cool side, because they have to be good guys, because like lots of people like them in the business. I mean, they can't be complete douche canoes to have like people like AJ Styles, and everyone basically seems to like them.
Yeah, those two are just very polarizing depending on where they go and definitely who they hang out with. And yeah, you brought up some good points about that, because even I have to think back into like their career and them being a tag team, that depending on who they hang around with, you get a different sense of like who they are and whatnot. If they're hanging around with the Bucks, you're gonna get like douchey bullies that will just bully you out of stupidity. But I think like if they're hanging around other people, and if they ever do decide to do something like a vignette with Bishop and Dijak, it will be clever. Like all four of them will be clever. I have no doubt about that. My problem is that the Good Brothers don't necessarily change, like commit to their change as character wise. So sometimes it's hard for me to be like, oh my God, I'm excited that they're going to be here, when I'm like, oh my God, it's probably the same fucking bullshit that I've seen a million times before, and then also that whole debacle between when the Good Brothers were back in WWE and Karl Anderson still had the NJPW Never Openweight Championship title. And then New Japan was like, bro, you got to come back here to drop it to Tama. Like, you take it off of Tama back in the day just to go to WWE, get signed, just to go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling to drop it back to Tama. And then Tama dropped it to Evil, and then Tama's in WWE. Like, okay.
Well, New Japan keeps breaking your heart, so I mean that's tied into your feelings on this. But no, I mean, out of the two of them, Karl Anderson to me he just always seems to be a perennial whiner. If there's a complaint, he makes it. I never hear Gallo saying anything, but I mean, he is a good friend, obviously, because he sticks with this guy.
Yeah.
The only time they were apart, he was Festus with in the Straight Edge Society, which is, despite what anyone else will say, because of all his Bullet Club days and titles, that's probably what most people will know him for.
Yeah. So this lightning match, which I had to write that in later because I didn't know what the hell was happening, because I was saying it where like Diego Hill was coming down with Blue Panther, and listen, we'll get to all the Panthers a little bit later because I have stuff to say. Versus Akamora and Stigma, and I was like, oh shit, this is a lightning match. What the fuck? You guys did not do this properly to let me know so I could properly title it. First of all, it is confirmed that Diego is Puerto Rican, so shout out to that. And it was just a fast opening of the match between Akamora and Stigma teaming up to go against Diego. At this point, Diego is pretty good, bouncing all over the place. Stigma is pretty good too. Akamora is good. However, I don't know if there might be there probably is maybe a language barrier. Like, I don't know, but like the stuff Akamora does, thinks that he's gonna end up winning matches, but he ends up fucking himself over, and then he plays the victim of like, the match is over already. Like, what happened? Like, I'm outside the ring. That this is what happened during the match. But yeah. However, even despite all of that, Akamora helped Diego win. So Diego wins his lightning match. I am not sure what this does for him. I mean, it does help him create more wins so he could like challenge for titles, but I don't know what the significance of winning a lightning match is going to do.
Agree. I mean, this whole thing started weird because Diego Hill actually came out accompanied by Akamora, which they've been making sort of a big deal about how he's under the wing of Blue Panther. and Blue Panther was at the show, but not with him. And and so when did this association with Akamora? So what is he just likes to hang around with the old guys and learn under the learning tree of the old guys? And stigma was not important in this match. He was just filler. I mean, to me, lightning matches to me shouldn't be triple threats. So, but who cares about that, honestly? So it seemed to me the story was that Akamora was distracting the ref and cheating to help Diego Hill get a win, but Diego Hill was oblivious of it. And so I think at some point the story is that Diego Hill's going to realize it, and he's like, "No, I want to learn the right way. That's why I studied under the legends like Blue Panther and you and I don't know what a feud between Akamora or Diego Hill does. I don't want to see that mismatched tag team. I mean, so I fantasy booked the whole thing with which would be a better situation, which would be Diego Hill versus Austin Aries, and like Diego Hill beats Austin Aries in a lightning match and it surprised the hell out of Austin Aries. And then Austin Aries, they have a regular match, 20 minutes with, and Austin Aries beats him, and then they have a rubber match, and it's sort of and Austin Aries pulls out every trick in the book and wins it, but respects him. And then they have like a Team Hell No kind of mismatched tag team, but Austin Aries is sort of teaching Diego Hill, and they win the tag team titles. But then Diego Hill realizes like he's learning, although he's, he wants to be Blue Panther, not lie, cheat, steal Eddie Guerrero. And that could be a story for a year and a half. I don't know what this is. I mean, I know I just fantasy booked the whole thing. Maybe it sucks. Maybe Austin Aries was only engaged for 2 shows. He wasn't on this one. But I don't get this. It was so strange. They didn't even mention that Diego Hill is talking to all the veterans. They said he studied with Blue Panther, and now he's accompanied by Akamora. The whole thing was, and like last we saw Akamora, he was back with Kojima as being good guys. Not a bad guy. And I don't know what being a 50-year-old ground pound Japanese wrestler, what that does with being Diego Hill, who's a high flyer. That said, Diego Hill did that giant arc cutter, which was amazing, and he does the corkscrew splash, which is also amazing. And I know a month ago people got all mad saying, "Why are you comparing Diego Hill to Leon Slater or Javon Evans?" I don't know, because he's tall, lanky, extremely athletic. Yeah, they happen to be similar skin. But if you can find me, another person to do it to, I mean, you want me to go with Jeff Hardy? Well, he's old. Do you want me to go with Angelico? No one's seen Angelico in 12 years. I mean, who do you want me to pick? Jackson Drake, maybe? I mean, but he's like 5'11". These guys are like 6'2", 6'3". I mean, so give me some, like, maybe you should stop looking just at the color of the comparison and how everything else matches too. Because it's not like I'm comparing him to Shelton Benjamin.
I mean, yeah.
It's not like I'm looking for black to compare to black. I'm looking for tall, thin, young, extremely athletic, and has all the potential in the world to be someone, especially if they build up their body some, to to be a star, barring injury, for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, pretty much. But people will always get upset at, like, you're trying to compare 2 people, but then it's like, well, look at the similar movesets. Like, we look at moveset and story and character, and we don't even care about color or whatever. We're like, oh shit, yo, he's doing the same shit that this person does, right? Like, it's okay, guys. It's okay. It's fine.
Right. I mean, you could say Axiom or Ben Fraser, but they're small and they're not lanky.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're different, and the moveset is different. They're fast and athletic, but it's different. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I would say that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah, it is. I could also say that even your favorite content creators will be, copying off of each other. The next match after that is where we're going to be like, this is the shortest ever review, right? Because I have it down as, in my really bad handwriting, it's fine. It's the Gato's Gauntlet, right? Where everyone and their mother I should probably say everyone and their father was in this match. I'm sorry.
Or son. But either way. Okay.
So we have, so guys, follow us. We have Atlantis and Atlantis Jr. versus El Galeon Fantasma, which is Barbosa and the other guy, which I totally forgot his name, versus Felino Jr. and Felino, aka Los Felinos, versus
Clever.
Blue Panther and Blue Panther Jr. And listen, I legit, right, in my notes before we get to, all I have is pure chaos and I want video packages. I don't know if people can see that as clearly, but those are the only two lines that I wrote because I was not going to sit there and go through every single little thing and be like, oh, Felino Jr. did this move and Atlantis Jr. did this move, when normally I come on here to analyze matches and talk about it and go like really try to go in depth. But I was like, nah, fuck that shit. Like, this is the match that should have been like, no, we're going to put it on like MLW Fusion, because I was like, what the fuck is this? Right now, listen, I appreciate professional wrestling. I appreciate Lucha Libre, but seriously, I understand that you guys love keeping it in the family, but shit, I need video packages, because how am I going to explain to my audience, like, yeah, Los Felinos, they're fantastic, right? And then all of a sudden, like, if I wanted to be a dick about it, if I had a cat, I would definitely show the cat on stream. I would definitely show it and be like, look, Los Felinos. You know what? I'll just stop. But
it's like when I do shows with Lufisto and her cats come on the show and I call them Lupastos.
Oh shit, really? That's mad cool. So her cats just pop in just to be like, meow. Did I lose you? I think I lost you. What happened? Oh, I lost Dos Evil? I think I lost Dos Evil. My God. Are you good? What happened? My internet is good. We're still recording. I think his internet went out. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, yeah. I'm still recording. We're up to shit happens. Shit happens. It's okay. Shit happens. I am sweating over here. Okay. Well, I'm gonna wait until he comes back because my internet is fine. His internet went out. I don't know why his internet went out. Um, so are we good? I'm waiting for the ding. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the ding. But yeah, so Felinos and Blue Panther Juniors and Panthers and Dead Pirates and Atlantis, I would just like to have video packages. That is what I like to have, video packages. Because video packages help you understand who's who and what's what. AEW can do some video packages and stuff. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Okay, I'm so good because but yeah, just to have two lines, pure chaos, and I would like video packages. Um, I would definitely like to have video packages. Um, guess I'll leave it. I'll leave it like that. So while we're waiting, I will. I don't know. The thumbnail is gonna be kind of funny. I think the thumbnail is gonna be kind of funny. Mm. Can I get a DonGato render? Because that would be funny. Hold on.
Sorry.
Welcome back. Um, so the last thing that happened, because it cut you off when you said that it's similar to when you talk to Lufisto and her cats come on, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then I was like, do they come on to just meow?
Pretty much, but because she's Lufisto, I call them Luposto, and she's like, well, I've like four of them or six of them. I'm like, yeah, well, that's typical luchadors. It's Luposto one, Luposto two, Luposto three, Luposto four. So I don't know. It's a little joke. I'm the only one who thinks it's funny, and that's not unusual. But yeah, actually, my internet going down during this match is I sort of wish it went down during this match because I could This is exactly what could have been cut out to give the ladies more time and to give the tag team championship match more time. Nobody paid tickets to see this. So this match, the show wasn't in Southern California. The show wasn't in Texas. The show was in South Carolina. It's not like there's like a big luchador audience there that's demanding it. And so it's not like people are just showing up because they respect Atlantis and Blue Panther Senior. I don't even think it was Blue Panther Junior. I think it was El Hijo del Blue Panther. He has apparently like 3 sons that wrestle.
Oh, I think we lost Dos Evil again. The perfect time for the internet to mess up. Perfect time. Because this is the match that we both wanted to be cut out. If you're on the Wi-Fi, it will do that to you. Oh, why did I do that? No, I don't want. I don't want Copilot. So he has no render except for that. Great.
They must be doing work locally.
Yeah.
So what was I saying when you lost me?
You were saying that I think that you think, and I probably think this too, that Blue Panther was having like his sons and the rest of the family and stuff like that. His that was about it. That he probably had his son out there.
Anyway, like you said, this is the one that I assume you want to have the source review. I mean, I'll agree that it was chaos, but chaos in slow motion. I didn't care about this match. I didn't care for this match. I didn't care about it. It like had all the worst parts of lucha. Old guys obviously coordinating their moves, slow, people falling down with the little, heel slips, they're falling before the guy touches the heel. I had no interest in it. Like I said, it could have been edited. They could have given, 5 more minutes to the ladies and 7 more minutes to the tag team champs. And, this would have been a better show for me.
Yeah, definitely. I would have taken this one out and be like, no, we'll put it for something else. If they go to California again, like that'll be the perfect setup to have that match there for a California crowd. And then like anywhere else, I don't know, but like California is like big on lucha libre,
so Texas,
yeah,
they
Texas, yeah.
And they don't do pre-shows, but if they did like a pre-show this would be a perfect pre-show match. It's supposed to be fast moving. You get the nostalgia. I mean, these guys didn't move exactly. And of all things, the pirates who actually downed the lead pirate won. I mean,
Yeah.
the two cronies lost to legend. I mean, beat legends. The cronies aren't there to win. The captain's supposed to at least be there to get the win. So none of this made a bit of sense to me.
So yeah, you could also tell too that even on the outside, the older guys were like, "What? That's it? The match is over?" And it was so chaotic. Other than that,
the one guy with the Halloween mask. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Listen, I know not everyone can get the Hollywood fiend mask that Bray Wyatt commissioned, but you got to do better than going to a Spirit Halloween and buying like a ghoul mask from Pirates of the Caribbean, the Black Pearl, 1999.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically our opinions on this. This match should have been like X from the show.
Yeah.
We move on to another women's match, which I don't know, maybe Priscilla Kelly and Shotzi should have probably opened up the show. But yeah, it was Priscilla Kelly versus Shotzi. They did quick roll-ups in the beginning, which I was like, interesting. And I did put on here that Tiger Fang kick that Shotzi did to Priscilla Kelly while she was in the turnbuckles. That's still a cool looking move, even though I'm like, hey, be careful because the ring post is right there. You get the crossbody 2 count, they kick out, the cattle mutilation. I was surprised that Priscilla Kelly rolled through because I don't think in the history of me watching Danielson apply the cattle mutilation to all of his opponents, I don't think not one of them probably rolled through. Maybe like Zack Sabre Jr., because somebody's going to tell me that Zack Sabre Jr. did that shit. But to roll through, I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. Strikes, kicks, suplexes, German suplexes, half and half. But in the end, Shotzi goes up to the top rope, does her big senton move, her finisher, and defeats Priscilla Kelly and wins the match.
This match was extremely disappointing to me, for a bunch of reasons. One, this was supposed to be a grudge match, so they didn't start out like, this is where they should have gone to the middle of the ring and just start punching each other in the face, sort of the Eddie Kingston in the middle of the ring where someone just keep punching each other in the face, Eddie Kingston, John Moxley kind of thing. Secondly, Priscilla Kelly lost really quickly, which means that this was a one-off, which is disappointing. I think Shotzi looked great in this match. I think Shotzi looked really great. I thought Priscilla Kelly looked really slow and plodding in this match. And I don't know if that's why she was released. I don't know if she doesn't have access to the PC. I don't know if she had, if I just never mentioned it or noticed it before because she was around other people. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of, I saw a lot of Gigi Dolan and I never really got that feeling before. I was not impressed by her, and I was really looking forward to being impressed by her. This hurts me to say this. I mean, I wanted her to be in MLW for a while. Now I'm almost relieved that it seems like she's not going to be. But she did not seem to be in ring shape at all. But the story of the match was that she was tormenting Shotzi. This match had a story, unlike the first one, and it should have been more brutal. And it was just a wrestling match. Again, I'm glad for Shotzi, but this match could have been against, like they had like La Leona, Alexandra Quintanilla. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. It could have been Mila Moore. It could have been Ava Everett. It could, it could have been, they could have gone whoever is, the local, most popular indie wrestler in the South, in the Charleston areas or, in the Carolinas. They didn't need Priscilla Kelly for this, and it didn't seem like Priscilla Kelly was ready. So disappointed on one hand, happy for Shotzi, glad she's sticking around. I like her having a prominent role. Her with an MLW women's belt, there's only one. I think, I think that's destined to be as soon as Shoto. I mean, it's weird. There was no reference to, any of the Japanese women wrestlers. I mean, including their only champion,
Yeah.
Shoto. I mean, Hammerstrom wasn't there. Mr. Thomas wasn't there. Matthew Justice wasn't on the
Yeah.
card. I mean, Austin Aries wasn't there. Paul Walterhauser, Paul London, and I get it. It's MLW. They're not always going to be on every show, and maybe Fusion will give them a chance to make more things make more sense and rotate in a bit of a more orderly way. But I don't know. This match didn't leave me wanting more. It let me feeling like this isn't the match I came to see.
Yeah. I could totally get that. And then after the match, we had the announcement of MLW Fusion returning in 2026. Both you and I have no idea what that really entails, but most likely those are going to be TV tapings. And this is a PSA to people who buy tickets and or who are going to be who want to work media for MLW. TV tapings, you do not give out the scoops. I do not care. You do not give out the scoops. Now, if they say we're going live on like YouTube, a TV program, or whatever the hell, go ahead. Go have fun. Go make some noise. Go bring some hype. But if it is a TV taping that is going to be spanning over maybe like a week and a half or 2 weeks of content, you do not give out the scoops. I do not care if all you guys want is free stuff, because essentially all the freeloaders out there don't know how to support people who actually want to make a living out of this, or even support people that, want to make the product better. You got to like at least invest with us in order to make products better, rather than being like, hey, I want free. Oh my God, that guy is giving out free scoops and giving out, free stuff, and the journalists can go and, use it for whatever the fuck they want to. And guess what? Those supposed journalists out there, the dirt sheets, make money off of you guys. Because, you want it for free, essentially, but you got to give $5 in order to get into the entry. Like, how does that make sense?
Okay.
Even though
You're
somebody...
giving them the scoops, and then they're charging other people for it.
Yeah, like how does that make sense? There is absolutely no value in knowing ahead of time what's happening. I'm of the different case, because like if someone does spoil something, I want to know how we get there, rather than just being like, oh my God, I'm not going to tune in. I want to know how we get there. But regardless of that, it's so stupid to pay $5 entry in to get scoops and spoilers when there's no value to that. Like, support wrestling if you say you want to support wrestling. People got upset on my tweet about that and being like, no, this guy deserved to get kicked out of like TNA and shit like that, because it's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that shit. At all.
He did deserve to be kicked out, and apparently he has a history of doing that throughout Florida. This is not a one-time thing. And I was like, he wasn't posting spoilers. He was posting pictures. How is a picture where one guy's hand is raised, not a spoiler? I mean,
yeah.
You're telling me stills can't be spoilers? What is wrong with you people? That it's like they must be the ones who actually think, no, the action in the ring is all that matters. No, the spoiler is the result, not who did a Hurricane Rana when. Anyway, I have a question for you. And do you think this move to Charleston means that they're also that Fusion will now be like a studio show, sort of like a NXT or Evolve kind of thing, where part of it is they have like a studio, and they'll maybe be like, the same 100 people or whatever in there, and it won't be the same raucous crowds, but we'll get more of a TV production show.
Yeah, I really do think so. With the way that everything was worded, and that like, Charleston was happy, and that like obviously they're giving more jobs to people in like the entertainment business, and like the Carolinas and like down south are good for that television sort of like small production kind of feel, the way that like NWA is set up, the way that every territory was set up. So yeah, I 100% believe that like, when it comes time for the MLW Fusion tapings, if they're not going to be on the road, I think the bulk of it is going to be at South Carolina, which again, it's a benefit to MLW. It's a benefit to Court Bauer because of money. They're saving money. They're putting more investment in like one place rather than trying to do it like everywhere that they go and whatnot. And I bet that before they decided to completely make South Carolina their home, that it was probably costing them a lot of money every time they went to state to state to state, did MLW Fusion tapings plus the show. So, if they could stay local for a good like 6 months out of the year, while the other 6 months could be like traveling and like, extra content. I think it's a win-win. It's a good business strategy for them. So,
Well, we will learn we'll learn what the schedule is. I mean, Thomas will tell me when he's going for taping, but I still think that, like, the big shows will be, whatever their equivalent of the pay-per-views are, which we've been getting for free on YouTube, which I imagine might change, maybe it won't. I have no idea, but those will still be in locations, like Battle Riots in Orlando. I still think they'll go to New York City and Philadelphia and Atlanta and LA and Texas. They like Las Vegas, so I think they'll continue to do that for their big shows. But the weekly shows, I think you're right. Studio wrestling, Charles. I don't know if they'll be able to do this or not, but I mean, there's a lot of interesting sites. There's sort of haunted houses, there's old Gothic, and there's old plantation properties, there's Fort Sumter, so you could have like if you want to be creative and do like a Hardy Broken Universe or Bray Wyatt's cinematic matches, you could probably do that with just some permits and whatnot. So hopefully that's planned as well, but we'll see. I don't really know what it is, but yeah, I was just surmising that we're probably going to get some, and they'll probably tape now once a month for 4 days or whatever, and that'll be 4 weeks of TV, and then every now and then they go twice a month, but one is just a one-night show. But we'll find out, and I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's not really a spoiler. That's just how the cheese is made, and I think at this point in wrestling, everyone knows how the cheese is made. But I don't know yet. But we'll find out. Anyway, this was interesting to know. But yeah, I guess I want the show, right?
Yeah. Right after that announcement, we had the middleweight triple threat match that had DonGato as a special enforcer. So this included our buddy Quan taking on Guerrero Maya Jr. and Templario, which Templario is our MLW middleweight champion, and he's also part of the United Empire, a dying United Empire over in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And they just wrapped up Best of the Super Juniors, and now we're over at World Tag League. So now Templario could come to the States and fill out some dates for MLW. This was, I guess, I don't know. My brain wants to be like it's an interesting match to have all three of them. Do I think that it should have been a triple threat? No, because I'm really, 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 really biased. I still want Quan to get a championship title and have like a singles title. Quan with his quick attacks and everything like that. We had some misdirection, some power moves. The referee goes down, I believe, because ref bumps are a thing. And that's when like DonGato decides to get involved, only because Quan decides to mush him in the face, and I was like, oh, you probably should have never done that. But yeah, DonGato ends up kicking Quan, and then here comes Templario with the backbreaker. And then DonGato just gets the referee to be like, count 1, 2, 3, and then Templario retains the title. As much as I enjoy Templario as a wrestler, I think it's time for a title change.
I agree with you. I didn't love this match for a few reasons. One, I don't know what Maya Guerrero Jr. did to earn a title match. I've never heard his name in MLW before. So, listen, Filthy Tom Lawler kept calling people legends like the Felinos, and I'm sorry, I've never heard of the Felinos. So, and I never heard of Maya Guerrero Jr. either, or if I did, it was just in passing, and I didn't take note of it. So I don't know why he was there. When there's a triple threat, the purpose of a triple threat is a couple things. There are no disqualifications, so a heel can cheat, and their faction can get involved. But it's also usually there to protect the champion from not losing, but losing their title. But then when they told you that the special enforcer was DonGato, they spoiled the end. So, like, you didn't need both of these gimmicks. Like, I think it would have been better if there was some vignette where, Quan injured Maya Guerrero Jr. Maybe it wasn't even really Maya Guerrero Jr. and he just saw somebody get beat up and whatever and an ambulance go, and then all of a sudden you see that Quan beat them and go, oh, I see there's a vacancy in the title match now. Told you not to overlook me, or told you not to take me for granted. put me in that match. And then like, and Caesar's like, we have no other choice. We don't have 25 other people on the roster doing nothing. Anyway, and this is just a me thing, maybe, but it sounds like you detected too. But I was so distracted by the fact that this was obviously a different DonGato. I mean,
Yeah.
this was a shorter, fat guy. DonGato's a tall, lean, probably muscular guy. I mean, he fills out that jacket much differently. I mean, honestly, and by short fat, this could have been me under that, except that the guy was obviously had melanin and I don't. But aside from that, I mean, he looked like a 5'10" to 230-pound guy, which is in essence me. But I'm 240. But the jacket barely buttons. I mean, I don't know. I didn't like the end. I didn't like the screw Quan in a match that should be set up, that he beats Maya Guerrero Jr. Templario does the hard work. Quan misses him and throws him out of the ring. It's triple threat, so there's no disqualification. He gets the belt through chicanery or shenanigans, and Templario never loses his honor. Instead, we got what was sort of a shorter match. Like they're on YouTube, so this show was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like,
yeah,
the last one was like 2 hours and 35 minutes. Like this, if this was 2 hours and 35 minutes, they could have had all the matches they wanted and given everyone the time they needed. Listen, I still would have been for getting rid of that quadruple gauntlet match or whatever that was, because it wasn't a gauntlet match. The first pin won, so that's not what a gauntlet match is either. But those are my complaints about it. I don't like Quan taking losses, and like I understand why someone loses. I just thought this was the wrong set of, like, they put two stipulations in, and they were worked. One was worked correctly, but in the wrong context.
Yeah, man, I totally understand that. After that match and Templario retaining, we get this little, I guess, not really a video package, if we want to call it, or a vignette of Cross and Matt Riddle, because surprisingly, I guess MLW trusted them enough. I mean, I would trust them too, to put them as the main event. But their little back and forth was very, very interesting. I noticed that, like, Cross has this way of making people better in the way that he interacts with them. And then sometimes, like, I'm not a huge, like, fanatic for, like, Cross, but I highly respect him for, like, everything that he does, even the content that he creates and the stuff he does with WWE and then outside of WWE. Like, he's definitely, like, taking this whole thing seriously and by storm. I just think that it's probably true that he does get lost within, like, WWE since it's so big. But then in MLW, it's like we can focus. So I really did enjoy the interaction between Cross and Riddle. Riddle over here, changing up, obviously, his attitude, becoming the rude dude and just being a little bit more, I don't know, is cynical the right word or whatnot, but a little more cold-hearted and stuff. It just worked. It worked so well, and I was like, yeah, I could get behind this.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great segment. They call back to the Indies, they call back to NXT, they call back to main roster, and Riddle points out that Riddle made Cross tap out many times, and Cross has never ever made Riddle tap out, which goes along with Riddle's whole storyline that he can beat anybody up, in any locker room. And then Cross turned his back and says, "Go ahead and do it." And the issue I have, and it's not with this segment, it is generally with MLW segments that are outside of the ring, or even some that were in the room with microphones. The audio is so notably different between, like, the commentary, Dombrowski and Filthy Tom Lawler. Like, I couldn't hear anything Arn Anderson said. I couldn't really hear what Riddle and Cross were saying. Like, they've been doing this production for years. To not have figured out how to equalize this is AEW levels of production and incompetency, and hopefully going to weekly tapings or studio tapings, and and hopefully being on any kind of TV platform will change that. I hope so, because that didn't play well. That said, they told a very simple story. They harken back to the past. They used to be training partners. I didn't know they were training partners, or if I knew that, I forgot. Whatever, it makes sense. Why not? And Matt Riddle still talking like a surfer guy, but he's swarmy like a snake. He's smarmy. He's like no disrespect, but saying things that. And Filthy Tom Lawler did a great job of pointing out that when you are a trainer, what stays in the dojo, what happens in the dojo stays in the dojo. What happens in training stays in training. And in training, one guy sometimes is supposed to be the dummy, and the other guy's supposed to be the one who's training. So it's that's not a real fight. So Filthy Tom did a great job bringing real world MMA kind of training into the story as well. I wish he had said it before. Not actually, it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this was an interesting choice for the main event. I guess we spoiled that the main event isn't the title match. I mean, I guess that, bringing Cross in, capitalizing on the we want Cross thing, and we got Cross. Cross also physically looked different. He's not on that TV diet. I don't think it hurts him. I never really liked Cross as the ripped pretty boy muscle guy. I liked him as sort of the big, scary, brooding guy who you can tell lifts weights, but also drinks a beer and eats a 40-ounce burger if he wants to. So I sort of like Cross without abs, and bigger arms. I think he looked much bigger than 256. I also don't think he looks 6'4", though. I think he looks more like 6'2", but I don't know. Whatever. It's wrestling. You round up. But yeah, what was the next match? The bunkhouse match?
It is, but before we get there, I just wanted to mention that Cross had put up one of his training videos, and all he uses is a kettlebell for everything that he does, for all the calisthenics that he does, and then he gets I don't know if if you use a kettlebell you get all shredded and whatnot, but he uses a kettlebell whenever he works out. That's why his TV body looks damn good. And then, I think he was just on vacation when he came to MLW, but it still didn't matter, because it was I'm more interested in the character shit that he does than anything else. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that have you ever heard of GPW Productions?
I have not.
So GPW Productions basically handles MLW's complete audio, tech, and video, all that kind of stuff. They also do indie promotions too. So people basically rent them out to help them with their audio and stuff like that. But yeah, lately it has been sort of a mixed match of the audio this, the audio that, the audio goes down. Because even we had maybe I think 3 minutes of black during the Priscilla Kelly and Shotzi match, and I thought it was me for a second. I was like, wait, hold on, what happened? And then no, it something went out. The damn cable
I also
probably
got
went
a commercial during the finisher of the Opera Cup finals.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I mean, I saw it on the replay, on the show, but yeah, the actual finish was during a YouTube commercial. Now I don't know if everyone got the same thing as me, but yeah.
Oh. Well, YouTube be putting those ads in randomly, and I'm just I just saw an ad 2 minutes ago. What do you mean there's another ad?
That's so many ads.
Oh man. But yeah, I wanted to mention those two things, and I guess share the knowledge of that GPW production helps out MLW with their stuff.
Well, I mean, if they're going to help them out, help them out. Just doing it isn't helping. Do it better than they could do it themselves, because frankly, the audio club at the local high school could make it, unequal sound quality.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because during the bunkhouse match, which is should have been the main event, because they were in South Carolina. You have the Andersons there. It's Anderson country. And whatnot, not to say that Cross and Riddle didn't deserve the main event, but you're in Anderson territory. You got to put them on last. And this was the world title. Yeah.
It's a bunkhouse match. A bunkhouse match should be 30 minutes long.
Yeah. If you definitely want a classic. But yeah, you're totally right that when Art Anderson was speaking, it was just like, bro, is your mic working? you know?
And then C.W. Anderson comes out. Listen, I'm glad C.W. Anderson was there, but for the last month or so, I've been putting in, like, whoever's listening, whether it's Arn Anderson, whether it's a Brock Anderson, whether it's an
Yeah.
MLW, I've been saying, if C.W. Anderson isn't wheeled out in a wheelchair with gauze around his head and like a nurse with holding one of those IV poles with him, and he looks like he's catatonic, what are we doing here? And they didn't do it. They brought him out with two kendo sticks. Okay, what they should have done is done my idea, and at some point he gets up and he takes off the gauze, and then he comes in and with and takes his IV pole and uses that as a weapon or whatever. But so you have all three Andersons, on Kruger, which fine, but this is a bunkhouse match. As near as I can remember, the only weapon they use was kendo sticks, which was the least bunkhouse. Like, they didn't use bull ropes, they didn't use 2x4s. They did. Oh, the shovel was used a little bit. I mean, they didn't throw hay at anyone. I mean, they barely went outside of the ring. So this wasn't a bunkhouse match. It was basically a no DQ match. I don't know. Yes, I loved my idea, but my idea is objectively good, and it's funny, and it's interesting, and it would have gotten C.W. Anderson a pop, which is something C.W. Anderson hasn't gotten in well ever. And he could have done it, at a rescue time to rescue Arn, who's the only clear baby face here is Arn. Because Kruger's been positioned sort of as a baby face because, like, all the bad guys have been trying to get him. Dijak, Bishop, even Hammerstone's been trying to attack him. Like, Riddle is hanging around. Like, all the bad guys are trying to get Kruger, so he's been sort of like a secret face. But here he's a heel again, when Brock is sort of a face, but is he? So Arn is the face, and so that could have been like a whole rescue thing for Arn. So that I don't know. I just think the whole thing was booked poorly and non-creatively, and this was also a short match. And if Brock Anderson is going to be like one of the guys that MLW focuses around for the next 3 to 5 years, it's like he's going to be one of their household names, or we have an Anderson, we're going to build around this. He has to be able to work a longer match and do it. And his dad and CW are out there to coach him up too. I don't know if he needs it or not, but I don't know. This like the Priscilla Shotzi match, this was extremely disappointing. It was too quick. Yeah, Kruger should beat Brock Anderson. I mean, he's a monster and he's involved in other stories. Even though he's ghosting me, but monsters ghost. So, I mean,
oh my God.
Ghosting me is both an atrocity and cruel. Well, that's on brand, right? So,
that's perfect.
Yeah. So, and anyway, call me. But anyway, I forgive you. Anyway, yeah. This was. I mean, with the exception of the one 4-way match that we talked about, this might have been my least favorite match, just because it could have and should have been so much more. And between Arn and CW, you have 115 years worth of wrestling experience in like Southern styled NWA bunkhouse matches, and this is what they gave me.
Yeah. I took it as a fan when I was watching it. I didn't think like too much of it, just because I love the Andersons. Like I just love it. To the point where like I was writing my notes and then I had to stop because Brock did the spine buster on Kruger, and I was like, oh shit. So I made a video and put it up on Instagram that I was marking out to it, and praising it. And
and it did,
Yeah. So I put that up, just praising and being like, oh, this was fantastic. But yeah, Tony, right? It did feel short. I don't know what they're doing, but it just seems like everything was a little bit short on time, but they still want to make a 2-hour, and like 15-minute YouTube video of the show. But then again, the place that they were in, they were probably like, yo, your curfew might be like 11 p.m., let's just say. So they had to like get out of there like at 11, that kind of thing that happens. So I don't, Yeah, I don't know why the matches are shorter, but I did want to capitalize on your idea. You know, you should have tagged me in that. I don't think I didn't see that of like your idea of CW being in the wheelchair and shit like that. Like you said that, and I was like, you know, why did they not capitalize on making sort of like a vignette, a WWF style vignette of CW in the wheelchair, not really responding, and you have like all like the medical stuff there,
Or
and then you
vignettes.
have
They released them on their YouTube channel. Like he's in the hospital in a coma and like
yeah,
flatlines a couple times. Then next he's going through, PT. They're trying to raise his legs and like he's drooling and
yeah,
like they try to feed him and like the oatmeal falls out of his mouth. And then you see him slowly getting better. He's on those, when they walk on the parallel bars and
yeah,
you see him
yeah.
and then the next we see him, he's being wheeled out here and it's heroic. And then he takes off the gauze and he takes out the IV out of his arm. And he comes there and he smacks him right before Arn Anderson's going to get clobbered by the monster. I mean,
That would have been perfect because it just builds up all that emotion. It just builds up all that excitement. And I was like, yeah, they totally missed a lot of opportunities.
And this is why CW has never gotten a pop in his entire career because he doesn't think of things like this. But Arn's there; he should have. And there's other people. Listen, this is why they need to hire us. I've been working on this the last 4 and 5 weeks, and I've been sharing it with them. I mean, you give them the kernel. I didn't give them all of it, but I gave them the kernel. They should have been there. And believe me, if they said that's a great idea, what else do you think? Then I would have thought, because I just came up with these other vignettes now when you said vignette. That means vignette. So like, I didn't come up with vignettes. You did, but when you came up with vignettes, I'm like, oh my god! Instead of a vignette, vignettes. It's like that's what a creative team does. And we didn't practice this. I mean, freaking my internet went down twice. I mean, are we more creative than the creative team for well, probably yes, but
listen, I have tried twice to apply for the MLW role for writer, and I heard nothing back. I think I might have to just
MLW, but yeah, hire this woman. Me, I'll do it for free. I'm an idiot, but this is wrestling writ large. I mean, WWE.
It is, man.
New clever stuff, with the exception of NXT. Like all of it to me is like and MLW wasn't. I mean, it was a little different. I mean, it was a little on the silly over the top side, but that's fine. That's what it's supposed to be. But wrestling writ large has been sort of Dullsville like the last years.
I will say this though, that like every time that I see Brock Anderson and his like social media presence, I don't want him to, start making cringy ass TikTok dance videos or whatever. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, give us something a little bit more to, attach ourselves to him in a very respectful, healthy way and not no parasocial way, but to be like, okay, we need you to act a little bit more. Like, I get it. Like, if this was back in the day in territory days, they really wouldn't have to do much for their character. You know that when they come into town, you don't fuck with them, right? But this is 2025. Most of the time, that doesn't really work. And if it works, it gets labeled completely wrong, even though it's a character. And then people will have this like really huge toxicity towards the person when it's like, they're playing a character, calm down, it's okay. So I just think that social media presence wise, they have to jump on making little vignettes, making little tiny vlogs, being like, I'm going to MLW and this is what's happening, even though, I don't see Brock being like a day in my life kind of thing, or get ready with me videos, but just a concept of, it would have been cool leading up to his fight with Kruger, little mini Instagram videos of like 3 minutes or less to be like, I'm going up against a really huge challenge. I'm going up against a monster. This is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm training. This is, this is what I'm writing in my journal or whatever the fuck, right? And then people will see that and go to the show and be like, yeah, he's going to be in a bunkhouse. He got this. He got weapons. He doesn't have to be afraid. He doesn't have to doubt himself anymore. His dad is in his corner. CW, the cousin is coming up with him. It's the Andersons all over again. And it's a new version of the Andersons in 2025 versus 80s.
You're exactly right. And, like, Hammerstone can post videos of him going to the gym and lifting weights, and that tells you what you need to know. Brock Anderson, though, you're right. Training for bunkhouse max, he should have been like out there chopping wood. He should have been out there like lifting like a plow, like an oxen, but like running like Rocky IV vignettes when he was in Siberia. He should be inside a stable, with a heavy bag, but instead of punching it or kicking it, he should be taking various different farm tools and hitting his heart, and they all break. Like he breaks the rake, he breaks the hoe, he breaks the shovel, he breaks the other shovel, he breaks the snow shovel, he breaks the shit scooping shovel, and then he gets to like the bale of hay claws, and you see him doing bale of hay things and tossing them like country strong kind of training.
Yeah.
And then like you see him in like a pickup truck, like but like a 15-year-old pickup truck, and he's like talking about how he's going to kill him, but he's a face. So he sees like a family on the side of the road, and the guy is me. He doesn't know how to change a tire. They're like, oh, what do we do? Call AAA. You hear the like people fighting, and the guy's like, I don't want to call AAA. I can figure out there's a manual right here. And like Brock comes out, and then like and while they're arguing, he like changes the tire, and they're like, hey, and the kid's like, that's Brock Anderson. And they're all like,
bro.
And like dad's like, who's Brock Anderson? And the wife goes, who's Brock Anderson? We're in horseman country. And they all go like that. I mean, again, just came up
with this. Listen, dude. Okay. This is why it pays to even though like I hate really being knee deep in social media and knowing about trends and all this kind of stuff, there is the trend of like the cowboy aesthetic kind of era where they're all messy and they're all manly and shit like that. And Brock should fucking tap into that. Brock Anderson, just for clarification, not Brock Lesnar could do whatever the fuck he wants, but Brock Anderson can tap into that in a new wave, in a new form, and he can set the boundaries for whatever he wants. But that's a really good, just sort of nice kind of thing where we all go like, because everybody does this. Like we're all like Four Horsemen. Like I love the Four Horsemen. I love fucking Arn Anderson. His father is fantastic. I would have loved to like meet him.
Side, they beep, and everyone's like going like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just easy stuff to say for wrestling, but it shows like, Brock, good guy Brock. Just mindlessly doing things. It'd be like, have a good day, y'all, ma'am.
Right.
He doesn't want the adulation.
Because listen, I could tell you from experience, because I marked out as a fangirl in front of both Brock Anderson and CW that they are Southern gentlemen to beyond. Southern gentlemen. They will do the ma'am and the sir and how you doing, like Southern charm, dude. Like like being around them is mad cool. Which I probably already told the story, but yeah, how they both had like mean faces on in the locker room area, and I wanted to speak to them like almost all day, but then like I just got to the end of the day to finally speak to them. But yeah, it was cool because I finally went up to them and I was like, hey, I've been wanting to talk to you guys like all day, but you guys had like some mean faces and I didn't want to bother you. and CW was all like, see, I told you it'll work. I was like, what the fuck? Good times, man. Good times. Like I will put them over so much. One of these days, I don't know. Maybe we should try to get Anderson on our shows. Any one of them.
I would love it. I mean, I don't know how we're I mean, we would be able to be so honest if we were the official podcast of MLW. I don't think they would allow that, but I don't know how to take this to the next level. But hopefully we can, especially with them growing. I mean, they should have an official podcast, and they don't need to pay Raj Giri to do it again.
Oh, are you talking about that thing where they had Alicia on there too, and it was sort of like that thing? Yeah, that died pretty quickly. So I don't know.
It did die pretty quickly. I mean, I actually liked the segment, but it was like their dirt sheet segment. So it was
yeah.
I mean, I liked it, but it does. But yeah, but like I mean, obviously they could probably have like MSL do it, and and Tom Lawler do the podcast or whatever. But I don't know. Yeah. Give some nobodies a little something.
Yeah. So I guess that's gonna wrap up the Anderson segment, which I'm definitely gonna be like, bro, can you just listen to this for a second? Like, we're here to help you. If you ever need help, I'll be there in a second. So we move on to the Opera Cup 2025 finals that had Mystico versus Volador Jr. I forgot that Volador Jr. sounded like how he sounded when he spoke Spanish. Because in my head, I'm like, bro, you look good. I thought your voice was deeper, but that's just me. We had, that same opening style of like the fast lucha, the standoff, showboating, fans booing or cheering. Then we got more lucha. Then we got a dive, but it got, countered, and then some kicks, some the ripping of the mask, like always, a tiger fane, another dive, a plancha, quick roll up, pin attempt, counters, hurricanranas, all this kind of shit. The only reason why I sound like this is because I don't know why there has been a miscommunication in certain matches that should have no miscommunication at all. That should be very smooth from start to finish. And Mystico have to stop, please, buddy. Mystico, my buddy, please stop doing dives. Please stop, or slow it down. Just dive. Oh wait, it got countered. All right, we're gonna set it up again. Dive. It works. I think that Volador Jr. should have won the finals just because I think this makes Mystico maybe 2 times. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Mystico, it is. Okay, so yeah, Mystico won twice. And I understand that because Volador Jr. Is probably not going to be like a complete mainstay for the main roster, that he comes in as like a special attraction kind of deal. But he's so damn good. But yeah,
he could have
it is what it is.
Shots.
Yeah, man, he could have.
Older seems like a guy who drinks tequila like water.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I could probably see that. But yeah, Mystico is a 2-time champion for the Opera Cup winner. Your thoughts?
I like Volador. I was very upset that no Ruhido and Magnus. Like, I don't like when people become my favorite guys and like my favorite act, and then they're not there. That's sort of like my theme this like last month. It's like someone becomes like my favorite, and then they disappoint me in some way. So maybe I'm the common denominator there, but I don't know. For a match where the Opera Cup is sort of like world title status is supposed to be, like, I felt like it was too cliche. They were too much playing to the crowd and the yays and the boos and too much. I think this just should have been a match, like just a straight up match, not so much of the boo yay, and the coordinator where there was a point where Volador was seemingly on the top turnbuckle for like, it seemed like an eternity. It was probably like 45 seconds, but even that's too long. And like he was doing nothing, and like Mystico would do an enziguri every 10 seconds, and like Volador wouldn't fall off. He was just staying there, and he was steadying himself, and then he was helping Mystico up, and it like took forever to Mystico to do the hurricane run. And if a spot is just taking so long to set up, just stop. You're both veterans. I mean, they had to say 3 times the Volador has 27 years of in-ring experience. I mean, I guess he started when he was 15 or something. But if he even started when he's 20, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, 27 years of Mystico, we know, has been probably wrestling 15, 18 years, who knows? So I don't know. Again, it was the wrong agenting or booking of the match for the stakes. It was the wrong kind of a match. It was silly a little bit. It was like a little bit of the silliness and the coordinated stuff, as opposed to looking like it was a high stakes match where they were giving it. I didn't feel like either guy was giving it their all. I felt like they were just doing anything you can do, I can do better, and let's go to the crowd and see. Like they were doing like the Bugs Bunny Daffy Duck spots, So, and the commercial like covering the finish for me was like the sour cherry on my melted ice cream sundae.
Yeah, because the finish of the match, for those that want to know, is Mystico doing La Mystica submission move that got locked in, and then Vordor basically tapping. And then, looking at the referee, and then, looking at Caesar when he comes down to present the Opera Cup along with Delgado and stuff like that. Voldemort Jr. over here is all like, what the fuck? Um, I don't know, man.
I don't either. That's how I felt about a lot of these matches. I don't know, man. I mean, like the matches were like most of them were like the right pairings, sort of, but I don't know, man. Like very few of them felt like the right match, with the exception of the main event, which I think.
Yeah.
Spoiler: I like this match. Spoiler: Jeff has nothing to shit on this match about.
Okay, so the main event of the MLWxDongato event is Killer Cross versus Matt Riddle. Dos Evil, take it away.
I mean, this was the whole thing, story about, you've never tapped me out. Physical match. They were doing, because they're both multidisciplinarily trained. They were going from strength moves to grab moves to wrestling, like Greco-Roman wrestling moves, to mixed martial arts. Riddle was definitely being the rude dude. He was sort of, he was tit for tatting and sort of getting over on Cross, but then Cross would use his power. Cross looked really, really big and really, really thick in this match. It was what it was supposed to be. It was two guys who were supposed to be friends, but one of them really isn't acting like a friend, and the other one knows he's not really acting like a friend, but he's trying not to lose his cool. And the other one's just sort of poking to make you lose his cool. But I was shocked that they gave Cross the win, and I'm so excited. So Scarlett got the win, and Cross got the win. Scarlett getting the win, whatever, could have been 50-50, but when they both get the win, that means we're seeing more of them. Maybe they're even on a contract, or maybe at least they're on like a 6-show appearance or something. I don't know, but we're getting more of Cross and Scarlett on MLW going forward. How long? I don't know. I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. Hopefully it's a long, long time. And that's got to put Cross in the title picture, and Cross versus Mads Kruger is awesome. Cross versus Hammerstone sounds awesome. I mean, so much fun. I don't know. I just, this felt like a big time match. The match was booked and agented correctly. I don't know if they did it themselves or not, but everyone got it right. The length it wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. It wasn't boring. I don't know. Everything was good. I feel guilty for not complaining, but don't have a complaint.
I don't either. I was enjoying this. I was enjoying the MMA route, because, Matt Riddle has told me that he hates running the ropes. And I was like, oh, so, if I ever challenge you, I could probably win the challenge of running the ropes, because I know how to run the ropes, and I miss running the ropes, by the way. That's like the only best exercise that I love doing for some reason. But yeah, running the ropes. The day that I ever get a house in the backyard, I'm definitely getting a ring, and I will be running the ropes for that. And I'll be like, yo, Matt, you want to come over? You want to run the ropes? He's probably going to be like, no. Anyway, but it felt different. It felt nice. This is the only like pivot, I should say, in the MLWxDongato event that I was like, oh, awesome. This is great. I can follow the story. The story is great. The looks that Cross was giving when he was like, oh shit, this motherfucker got me in a chokehold. I got to be more careful. Like, you felt that, and you understood the key features of what Cross was doing and whatnot. And I was surprised too that Cross got the win, but it makes sense because, the whole story was that, Matt Riddle was like, yo, I've been choking you out. Get your mind out of the gutter if anybody out there thought that could have been down that way. But, Matt Riddle over here has been doing that thing of like, I'm the best MMA fighter. I can fight everybody. And then if he ends up getting a tap out from you, he'll dangle it in front of you to be like, oh, I got this from you, blah blah blah, I'm better than you. So it works out. It really works out. And by the way, I am happy that like I guess Matt Riddle is still staying with MLW, because usually when a company takes a belt off of someone like Matt, or just someone in general, you kind of feel like, all right, what else can they do? They can't do really much else, and then they go somewhere else, right? So luckily we still got Matt Riddle to still create stories with Cross. Cross is going to be a very good storyteller with Hammerstone, because that's going to be a very interesting story. Hammerstone, coming back and being like, you guys forgot about me, and now I have to make you guys remember, I was the best MLW champion, blah, blah, blah. And then here comes Cross to sort of get into his mind and like be all manipulative with it. Yeah. Whatever story Cross is going to make with Kruger is going to be kind of fun and interesting. Will there ever be a chance of Cross joining Contra with the ranks? But Cross is good by himself, Will Cross ever make his own faction to go against Contra? Because like right now, MLW needs something else to go against Contra rather than Contra.
Cross and the Righteous have been sort of, working the indies together. I mean, it's been a rumor for like 2 years that they were going to come to WWE and join him, and they were going to sort of join the Wyatt Six, which I guess would be like the Wyatt at that point. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, they can use technique. But Cross would be great in Contra. I mean, but you're right. He doesn't need to be in Contra, but he would be great in Contra. And the thing about MLW is that, well, I guess the weekly shows may change things, but like NWA, they can be short form stories. Like the stories can begin and end over the course of 3 or 4 different TV shows and then one pay-per-view and start. So they don't have to be like, the bloodline lasting for 4 years and still sort of limping along. So it doesn't have to be. It can be like more like NWA, that some of them last a long time, or some of them you go back to them, but some of them just they're basically 30 days in the real world, but over the course of TV they're 90 days.
Yeah. So that main event was really good. I do want to see more, obviously. And that wraps up our MLW review. Some dates to look out for. Look out to or forward. MLW Fusion is coming back in 2026. The date of the New York show, which usually closes out the MLW for the year, is still up in the air. They did not even say the date for December on this show, which was kind of weird, and it has me kind of worrying, just because of like they just moved. So it was just sort of like interesting.
Because we saw 2 hours and 10 minutes. They probably were there for 4.5 hours. So there's probably going to be the TV taping portion of it. I think the next show is Battle Riot in Orlando.
Yeah, it is. That is January 29th. Tickets have already gone on sale. Dos Evo has his tickets. And let the fans know how much you paid for them.
Oh, geez. You know what? This is going to sound really obnoxious. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't get like fancy schmancy tickets. I sort of got like the same level tickets where I saw you in New York, like sort of like 8 rows back, but on the floor. Like I actually think that view was really good. But in the back, and I did it in the back, like not the side where the wrestlers come in, but they're probably like $53. There's probably $53, something like that. Not expensive at all. I mean, you could get like front row edge seats, like where the entrances, like the most expensive tickets were $125, but there were tickets for $18, $20, $22, $33. I mean, very reasonable. And by the way, Evil Dos Jr. will also be there, or El Hijo del Evil Dos will be there as well. Possibly some people from the Unpopular Review crowd who live down there, who follow me from way back in the days, in my 2 or 3 stints of Unpopular Review. But here's the secret. I like to go in the back on the side where the wrestlers don't come in, because that's usually where the meet and greets are, and that's sort of where, like, when Thomas and guys like want to come back and actually shoot the shit, that they can. So, so that sort of was, because I do everything for Thomas because I'm his best friend, even though, well, he's my best friend, even though I'm not his best friend.
Yeah, and then right after Battle Riot, MLW will probably be returning to Chicago for their Lucha show. And then that's all the dates for going into next year. But it's still a big congratulations to MLW for moving out of New York City. Smart on you guys to go over to South Carolina. Eventually, I would like to make either, traveling trips to South Carolina just to be part of press over there. And then also to explore Florida and explore everywhere else and to eventually move out of New York City. But with
Well, if
that
you get
being
hired by
said,
MLW, you might have to move to South Carolina also.
what happened?
If you get hired by MLW, and you should be, you might have to move to South Carolina also.
Which I would not hesitate. I would definitely be like, all right, cool, let me go look at stuff and let's go down there.
And with ravaging Rick Rude.
Yeah, I'll go with him. I'll definitely go with him. Dosiva, put yourself over and let people know where they can find you.
Well, tonight may be live. We're not sure. Me and Lufisto will be on Wrestling Soup live on the Discord, reviewing the AAA WWE show. But because it starts at 10:15 Eastern and probably ends at 1:15 Eastern, we're not sure if we're going to be live or not. But that's a show to look for on the Wrestling Soup feed. On the Wrestling Soup and Friendos feed. Yes, that's a second feed, which I think you can only find on Spreaker, or I can only find on Spreaker. We do Dose of Chocolate, where me and White Chocolate review Evolve. My primary show are called The Garden of Thought, and you'll generally get 2 to 3 shows per week. I dropped one today with Professor Michael York. Is he the same Michael York that was in Austin Powers and Logan's Run? I don't know. Maybe tune in and find out. But we're going to follow the Indo part of the Indo-European. So we're going to start in the Near East and go further east in our mythology and storytelling. Earlier, what I do earlier in the week, I don't even know. But my most recent show with was it the one was Brick Savage the most recently one, or was Mads Kruger the most recent one with Thomas and the Wrestler? I don't know, but we have Faye Jackson, Boomaye. We have Faye Jackson booked for December 1st to come on, and I think we're going to finally get funny Thomas stories, because Thomas doesn't like funny Thomas stories. Thomas likes cool Thomas stories. So this is going to be like a mini roast. So if you want to hear somebody who's known him for a while, we'll get Faye Jackson on that. And I don't know, I do other things too, including this. I do NXT PLE reviews on the Drew Yari experience. I'm around. You can find me on the Twitter or X at dose_evil. So anything I do, I'm pretty good at promoting. I know that Chocolate and I are going to be on, there's 4 podcasts to cover Evolve. We're going to be on one of their podcasts. I believe it's called the Underappreciated Wrestling Fan podcast. So we're going to guest on that. So that should be fun. Anyway, I don't know. That's it. If you are a wrestler and you want to be interviewed and want to come on the show, you don't need to be famous. You don't need to be world champion Mads Kruger. You can be an up and comer like a Brick Savage. We have been very good luck for people. Very good luck. If you look at the people who've been on our show and the trajectory of their careers after they've been on the show, I mean, it's unmistakable, with possibly one exception.
I might have to talk to Gabriel Sky, because you were like, "Hey, hi, sir," and I was like, "I know him.
He's Quan's tag team partner. Quan,
yeah,
sometimes a co-host. He can't get him on. Well, what's up with that? It's your best friend."
I don't know, man. Listen,
believe me, Quan, I understand best friend problems.
Rule 101 in wrestling, even though it's always a 101. Wrestlers do what wrestlers do. They just go by their own rules in their own time, and it's sort of like you got to get used to that shit. Like I had to get used to that for a while. It was just like wrestlers will be wrestlers, you can't really tame that shit.
Independent contractors. I did sponsor, by the way, Lainey Locke for the Beyond Show, and she won the WWE Women's EID Prospect contest and the Women's ID Championship. So, I mean, again, that's me. Good luck. I had
man.
of who to sponsor. I chose Lainey Locke, and I was lucky. By the way, lady, I'm still waiting for a thank you. I mean, it'd be nice to get a thank you. I mean, when I sponsored John Schuyler, he came up and shook my hand and did a video.
Oh shit!
Yeah, sure. I mean, he offered to him, like, it's okay. Then I'm like, why not? So anyway, congratulations.
That's a good track record.
Yeah, congratulations to the champion. I mean, congratulations to the champion. Yeah, so I'm telling you, you look at Tiffany Nueves. Now she has 2 belts.
Yeah, Dos Evil. Whenever you need the rub.
I'm going to get Mauricia hired by MLW. Me now, they'll be like, we'll pass on that guy.
Yeah, I just been going through the motions, and I do the MLW review and talk about MLW so highly because it's basically one of the best places and fun places to work and have an opportunity, and I don't take that shit for granted. Like, I do as much as I can. With that being said,
on this show though, they forgot who they were. They got all these big names in there, and I think they forgot who they were, and they tried to do a show that they thought was for the WWE crowd and might watch the former WWE names, and I think they forgot to do an MLW show.
We'll see what happens next month, if they're gonna come back to New York or do something in South Carolina. Who knows? But we'll see if the next show will feel like an MLW show. But I think you're right. I think they wanted to capture the fact that they had ex WWE stars on there and whatnot. It paid off because when I was watching the YouTube show, they were at like close to 70,000 views. That was like over a 16-hour, layover from when it streamed to like the next day. So that's some pretty good numbers. But yeah, so if you guys want, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows, where I have the hottest of hottest takes, and people just say whatever the fuck that they want. And yeah, so make sure to like, subscribe, and share this out to your friends on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. You can also join to become a member on the YouTube channel. That helps me out. There's also patreon.com/Marie Shadows, where you get every single layer and all of my thoughts on there. It is growing, but nobody is following me for free. You can follow for free on Patreon now, which is a big deal if you don't want to get a membership just yet. So you could try before you buy. I don't know why I made it sound like that.
Use that again.
What happened?
Use that again. That's good.
Yeah, you could try before you buy, guys. You could just follow me. I got 3 people following me. And they're trying before they're buying. Other than that, Square Circle Podcast on all podcasting available podcasting platforms like Spotify and Apple and Google and stuff like that. So this episode will probably be up later, if not later today or tomorrow, whatever you guys are hearing this. I will try to squeeze in maybe tomorrow a GCW Lunacy review. But yeah, all my links will be down in the description below. Merchandise, the newsletter, all that kind of stuff. But no matter what, even if you think that we might be a little too harsh on MLW, or you don't think that we are harsh on MLW, that we're just giving our opinions, we basically, we speak from the heart, and we love MLW, and we want nothing for the best for them and to improve. And that goes for all the wrestlers, which, by the way, I should be plugging in my tape study series, because that shit is going to be coming back, because I've been doing some tape study series no matter what, which people did not like my tape study review of Vince Russo coming in on Katrina Creed's promo, which was hilarious to me, but that's another story for another day.
If they don't like something you do, it means they're listening.
Yeah. But that's a story for another day. But tape study series is coming back. I'm trying to find a very good ethical way to set it up so that way I could be your cheerleader, and you can I could be your mentor monthly rather than just a one-on-one consultation, because I do want all wrestlers to succeed in this business, because I just love it, and that's my way of giving back. So look out for more information on that on patreon.com/Marie Shadows, because it will be over there. The same way that Dos Evil and I came up just off the top of our heads to help out Brock Anderson to become a different kind of Anderson in 2025. That's basically what tape study is, where we get to brainstorm ideas and talk about this, talk about that, what works creative wise. And yeah, um, with that being said, I don't really want to go like too much over time, but I do appreciate everyone listening, everyone sharing, everyone supporting me, supporting Dose Evil, and everything that we do in wrestling. And we will see you guys on the next MLW review.
Thank you, everyone. Take it easy.